Hi, I'm Dr. Gwyn Erwin, and welcome back to my channel, Healing for Your Life. We're in the midst of finishing up a series on organizing for the creative process. So this is video B of Domain 5, Project Management. And today we're going to be talking about the stages of a project, because they're very important to know where you are and what you're trying to do in each of those stages. Stage 1 is all about meaning. This is the beginning of a project. You may have a lot of life and excitement about this project because it's a new idea. You've got all kinds of things you want to accomplish. It's kind of the new bright, shiny object. But you don't want it to remain the bright, shiny object, because when you get into the work of a project, the luster sort of fades, and you don't want to lose interest. And the way that you can sustain yourself through the work of a project is because of its meaning to you. Now, this is even more important if the project has been assigned to you. Especially because you want to have it mean something to you. You want to buy into it. You've got to have a sense of ownership for it, or you'll have a very, very tough time doing it. If you can't find that meaning and you have the chance, then delegate it to somebody else, or at least the parts of it that are not something you enjoy at all. Then you maybe want to work with a team. But if you are not able to delegate it, you're going to have to do some preliminary work to find out what this really can mean to you. If the project itself doesn't have meaning, then let the process of the project have meaning for you, so that you will grow and learn by doing this project. But hopefully the project will have meaning for you, something you really want to communicate, something you really want to create, that it's important for yourself, and you hope it is of benefit to your audience, whoever that audience might be. Either you're teaching something, or providing something of pleasure, or providing something that is informative, or uplifting, or inspiring. But you want to find what it means to you. You may have doubts at the beginning. You may feel filled with dread as much as of excitement and think, I can't pull this off. I wanted to start this YouTube channel probably 2 years before I actually began. And I was full of dread because I thought, how am I going to do this? I don't know how I'm going to fit it into my schedule. I don't know how to do it. I know I can learn, but who's going to teach me? And I didn't want to just listen to other YouTube videos to learn how to do it. I wanted it to be an interactive process. And I'm just so lucky that my producer, Jen Gilkey, or Jen Shakti as she is professionally known, came in and pulled me through each step of learning this project. And we are just having so much fun doing these videos, and hope that you are enjoying them as well. So I was able to fold it into my life and now have a routine with it and tons of ideas and material. And so I look forward to this being something that will sustain over the years and be of great help to people. So you want to find meaning for yourself for this project. That is your first stage. Without it, kind of the rug's going to go out from under you. Because when the going gets tough, which it will, that's a guarantee. Nothing is smooth sailing. Too many elements up for grabs. You want something to sustain you, and the meaning of your project is what is going to sustain you. The second stage of a project is to allow yourself free range to accept any idea. There are no mistakes here. There's just problem solving and creative ideas and brainstorming and flights of fancy, and you'll know fairly quickly what's going to fall by the wayside because it isn't going to work, or it isn't practical, or it doesn't support the project. But this is a very embryonic time for the specific project that you're working with, and you want to breathe life into it so that it can begin to take on a life of its own. And you want to explore and be open to all sorts of possibilities with it, and then be willing to fail at any iteration of it. That's just part of the process. And it's an exciting part of the process if you know that it's coming. And then you're not going to look at your ideas and think, well, that wasn't a very good idea of that XYZ, but boy, I really like this idea over there. And then you don't carry a sense of failure and a sense of, well, this is never going to work out, because if one thing doesn't work out, something else is going to work out. So it's a time of wonderful possibility, and all ideas of those you choose to be involved are welcome. Be careful who you involve. Go back to one of the earlier videos on the creative process. Share your work with people who are non-competitive, who are trustworthy, who are reciprocal, who are there for your best interest, and make use of their ideas, because you'll do the same thing for them with their creative projects. The next phase of a project is life in the middle of it, in the development of the project. And this is where the work is. This is the bulk of the work. It's the longest running. It's the heftiest time. It will take the most attention. It can be consuming, frustrating, exciting, demanding, and fulfilling. It's kind of like being pregnant, but more like an elephant is pregnant for a couple of years. And you want to be completely preoccupied with what you're doing. So that doesn't mean you don't have room for your partner or your kids or friendships or other aspects of your work. But you kind of carry the project with you, certainly on your peripheral vision, so that as you get ideas in the shower, or you get ideas driving to work, or as you're falling asleep, you've got a little notepad next to you, or you speak into your phone and record, a little audio briefly and capture that idea in your butterfly net. Because this is a time of rich working on it, and as you work, whichever medium you're working in, you're going to be popping ideas. It just happens. So Jen has a show up now, and it'll run through January, and she's been working on this for how long?
Year and a half.
A year and a half. And during that time that she created these beautiful 10 paintings of the Mojave Desert, she also got married. So you can do big projects. Those are multiple projects, and you can handle them. And of course, she was popping ideas for other paintings, and popping ideas for her wedding, and popping ideas for combining their households, and, having her wonderful friendship with her mother and all of her other friends, plus her professional life. In addition to her fine art, she's also a gifted tattoo artist. So, you're juggling a lot of things when you're working on projects, but when you're in the heat of it, when you're in the midst of it, you want to kind of think of a stove, front burner, back burner, and the warmer. So certain things are be on the warmer. Other things are going to be on the back burners. Maybe the heat isn't even on yet. And then you've got the front burner, and that's where you're having to put the majority of your attention. So just realize that this stage of a project, the working on it is just an intense time. Now, if your time frame is short, your deadline is not very long from when you begin, the work is going to be far more intense, and you just have to know that and plan accordingly. Again, time and energy management. If it's a long-term project, let's say a couple of years, the one word of caution I would give you is be careful, because it's easy to get lulled into thinking I have all the time in the world, and you don't, because there are stages of the project that need to be completed within certain time frames so that you can build to the next stage of the project. So again, go back to the exercise in the previous video of planning backwards and then moving forwards. And that will help you from getting lulled and kind of falling off track. All right, your final stage of a project development and project management is the home stretch. And this is similar to the last trimester and of giving birth. You've done the bulk of the work. The majority of it is finished, and now you're into the ending phases, which include getting any feedback you need, getting any final drafts or reiterations of your project, and doing the fine tuning, polishing aspect of your project. When I was finishing my PhD dissertation, which took about 5 years, although I took 1 year off because it was my youngest child's last year at home before she went to college, and I wanted to be available to her whether she needed me or not. I wanted to be there and not be preoccupied. And one of my other daughters was having a baby, and I wanted to be present for all of that. So I really wrote for 4 years, but at the last few months, my chair said to me, "Okay, Gwyn, no more research. You're done with this," because my dissertation is it's not complex in the way that it's complicated. It's very full, has a lot of aspects to it. And he said, "Okay, you're done. Finish up the writing and get the final working draft to me." And out came a new journal, not a new journal, but a new issue of a journal. And every single article in it applied to my topic. And I called him and I said, "I have to include this research." He was not happy with me, and I said, "I promise I'll have this done in 2 weeks." And I did. And I read all the articles and I reviewed them, and I took from them what I needed and incorporated it into my dissertation. And so he was fine with it ultimately, and I was very happy to be able to include that research because it was very cutting edge. So this is the ending phase. Now, as your project finishes, and even though you have to launch it, and even though there's a whole marketing phase, there may be a kind of postpartum sadness when your project is finished, because you have invested so much into it, and now it's not going to feel alive in the same way, and you're not going to be working on it in the same way, because now you have to do the marketing end of it, which is a whole different animal. And even though it can be creative, it is not like creating the project itself. And for people who are very process oriented, they dread marketing, they dread selling themselves, they dread putting themselves out there. I understand that. And that is what we're going to be talking about in the next video. But just a hint, what you do as a project ends, even though it's going into another phase, you have another project that is ready for you to now dive into. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.